welcome back. In today's lecture, I am going to talk about the basic variational problem. And what we have learned so far, that what is relation between calculus and calculus of variation, and what we have found that one of the basic element of calculus of variation is we are defining the functional, and after that we are talking about the increment of the function, and from the increment basically we are trying to capture some kind of variation, and after that based on that we have stated some kind of theorem, and which we have called that fundamental theorem of the calculus of variations. So let us try to first revise whatever we have learned till now. So what we have seen that whenever we are formulating some optimal control problem, so basically I am talking about some kind of optimal control problem, and in order to formulate some kind of optimal control problem, what basically we are doing that we are finding a state trajectory that minimize some kind of performance measure. And we know that whenever we are talking about some kind of performance measure, then that is nothing but some kind of functional. Now we have to formulate some kind of condition such that that performance measure has certain kind of minima. And in previous class I have stated the theorem which basically provide us the necessary condition, and after that we have also seen that how to talk about some kind of sufficient condition by seeing the second variation. So let us again recollect the main result from the last class. So what we have found that for x star to be a candidate of optimum means that might be maxima, that might be minima, and based on the statement of the problem, basically we are selecting the maxima and minima, and after that what we are telling that the first variation, and we know that how to define the variation of j must be 0 on this particular x star t, and this basically gives us the necessary condition. And for sufficient condition we are again seeing the second variation, and if second variation is positive then we have minima, if that is negative then we have maxima. We have already learned this particular thing in the previous class. We know that how to define the performance measure, and somehow what we have found that whenever we are talking about performance measure, then that is some kind of functional. So finally that map back to some kind of real number. And now if you try to connect this theorem using optimal control problem, so in optimal control problem we have certain kind of system, and this xt is the trajectory, and if you see the trajectory then here you can see that xt0, that is depending on the xt0, that is the initial condition, and initial condition is nothing but all the history of past information. And here if I know the control for all t greater than equal to t0, then I can able to determine this xt uniquely, because we are telling that this is some kind of system, and whenever we are talking about system then whatever output we are getting from the input as well as the initial condition, that should be unique, and due to that reason uniquely I can define xt if I fix this particular quantity and this particular quantity. For simplicity of purpose, in today's lecture, what I am going to assume that this system is particularly somehow behave like some kind of autonomous system. Autonomous system means, for time being I am not going to talk about this control part. Or in other way, we have designed control in such a way such that this whole system is just governed by the state like condition. Or means this is very easy to understand, that suppose that if I am not talking here optimal control problem, I am going to talk about just simple problem, then you are able to understand that suppose you have this kind of system x dot equal to u, and in order to and for simplicity you can assume x belongs to R, only one dimensional system. So in order to understand the future trajectory xt, you need the information of initial condition as well as you have to know the ut, because if you just integrate this, then you are able to understand that this is xt0 and after that t0 to t u tau into d tau. So basically this particular initial condition is required, and after that ut and u tau t0 to t, that is required. So same kind of things I have represented here. So system is first order, for example you can assume, then these two things are required. Suppose if you fix this u by some kind of control, and again I am assuming that this control is governed by this is called xt as a state, because this is able to carry all past information. If you design control like this, now you can see that my whole system, so my closed loop system is now like this. So if I just know the initial condition xt0, then I am able to calculate the all future trajectory. That is the meaning. So for the same prospect, for simplicity to understand how to solve variational problem, what I am assuming that the state xt or trajectory, you can tell trajectory of this system can be independently varied. So there is no need of control here. So either you can assume that I have just initial condition, I have certain kind of autonomous system, or we can obtain some feasible trajectory xt, or you can assume that I have substituted control in such a way such that my system is autonomous. Now let us first try to talk the simplest variational problem, and after that in next class I am going to extend this problem for several different classes of problem. So first problem, what I am going to assume that I am assuming that I have x be a scalar function. So I am assuming that okay, xt belongs to real number in the class of function with continuous first derivative. So we are assuming that xt also satisfy this kind of condition, that continuously differentiable. Whenever we are writing like this. So at least xt is continuous function. So xt belongs to some kind of real number, means if you give some value of t, then you are going to get some kind of real number, so a scalar function, and after that scalar function is continuously differentiable. So that kind of assumption I have. Now what is our aim? Our aim to find the function x star for which the functional, and functional, whenever we are defining functional, you can see that g is function of x dot and t. So I have already told you that here property of this whole things from here to here, finally I will generate some kind of real number and has relative extremum. So some problem we are hoping for maxima, some problem we are hoping for minima. So extremum or optimum, whatever you want, you can tell, that doesn't matter. So now my problem is very simple. I have some kind of functional and I have to find x star such that this particular function has relative extremum. Whenever we are talking about relative means suppose you have three different maxima or three different minima you can assume, then out of that maxima or minima, local maxima or minima, I am going to pick the one minima, and we are telling okay, this particular minima has least value, and similarly all maxima has I am going to select the maximum value. Now here, whenever you are solving any problem, first you have to become careful with respect to all proper assumptions. So again, try to understand what kind of assumption we are putting. So since whenever we are formulating this performance measure or some kind of functional and performance measure is same thing in this particular course, at that time selection of this is totally based on the user choice or problem statement or what kind of objective basically users want from that particular optimal control formulation. So whenever we are formulating the G, at that time we have to become little bit careful. So what we are assuming that the integrand G has continuous first and second partial derivative, because in order to apply fundamental theorem of calculus of variation, this particular partial derivative is required. Due to that reason, we have assumed this, and we are assuming with respect to all argument this condition should be satisfied. And after that, what we are assuming that T0 and Tf are fixed and end point of the curve are specified as x0 and T0. So what we are telling that this problem is simplest problem where I know the end time, so T0 and Tf I am knowing, and also I am knowing the end value of this particular trajectory or particular state, so x0 and xf. So I have basically this class of problem is called fixed end time and fixed end state problem. Now I have to find some kind of curve, and that curve is x star t, and here basically t belongs to T0 to Tf such that this particular x star will minimize the J, and we have already seen that J I have defined like in this particular manner. So now you can see that if you have two fixed points, then you have infinite many trajectory which is going to join from this particular point to this particular point. So now what we have to do that out of this infinite choice, it is possible to fix some kind of choice, and that is called admissible curve. So I am just going to select those kind of curve which satisfy the end condition. So end condition means at t equal to 0, this is x0, tf, this is xf. Now objective to find the curve if any exists. Sometime it might possible that curve is not exist, such that I am able to extremize this jx. So I have fixed jx, and after that I start finding the curve. But if my problem is not properly formulated or my jx is not proper, then it might possible that solution will not exist, curve will not exist. Due to that reason, what I am assuming that if I am talking about simplest problem, then that curve is exists, but I do not know what is that particular curve which extimize again we are talking about optimum of Jx. And if you see, I have already told you that the fundamental lemma of calculus of variation are telling that if you have certain kind of curve where variation, first variation, that is equal to 0, then it is possible that, and that is also necessary condition basically, that particular necessary condition provide us that there exists some kind of extremum. So in order to find extremum, I am going to use again same kind of theorem, and due to that reason the search begins by finding the curve that satisfy the fundamental theorem and fundamental theorem of calculus of variation. Whenever I will write fundamental theorem, I am going to talk about fundamental theorem of the calculus of variation. So we have already defined the functional or performance measure, and now what I am telling that x be any curve in this particular space, and I have already told you that whatever space I am talking about, that t equal to 0, that curve has x0 and tf, that is xtf. And now in order to talk about variation, how to find variation, we are first finding the increment, we have already seen in the previous class, and after that we are seeing the variation. So we are collecting variation somehow from the increment, and due to that reason first I am going to talk about the increment of the functional. So how to define the increment, we have already seen that is x plus delta x. Again please be careful, I am going to assume that after some variation delta x might be positive and negative, this x plus delta x again belongs to same class, and we have defined that class as a omega. And after that this we have to do, and I am going to substitute the value. So I know what is Jx, so Jx is g xt x dot t plus t, and I have just substituted every place since I am talking about the variation, and I am telling that this particular trajectory whatever I have assumed, that is also differentiable, and due to that reason I can able to write like this. So, and here clearly I have written this, means I am going to understand what is meaning of dx by dt, that is x dot, and delta x dot is d by dt of this particular increment delta x. Now I am going to combine these two integral. You can see that this integral is also from t0 to tf, and this is also from t0 to tf, and due to that reason I can able to write like this. So this is pretty simple, and after that now what I am going to do, I am going to obtain the Taylor series about this point x and x dot, and if you do the Taylor series expansion, then you can see that since I am talking about Taylor series expansion of this particular part, first part here to here, so here I have variation in this particular argument, and after that I have variation in this particular argument. So due to that reason I have first series is x dot, because I am going to talk about variation about this, and after that I have to see variation along the x-axis, so dou g by dou x, and I am assuming that g, if you remember that during formulation of this performance measure or functional, I have already assumed that g has first as well as second partial derivative with respect to all argument, and due to that reason this is from Taylor series expansion. So I hope that you all are already well aware about the Taylor series expansion. I am not going to repeat that. If you have any confusion, then either you can go to Wikipedia, then Taylor series expansion you are able to find. And again with respect to second argument, so first I have calculated the variation about the first argument, and after that about the second argument, and after that, so this basically we get from the Taylor series expansion. And after that I have higher order term, that is delta x square multiplication of these two. This is 1 by 2 factorial, so either you can write 1 by 2 or factorial 2, that doesn't matter. And after that what happens, I have this kind of term, and we have also this particular term is called higher order term. So I have higher order term. In higher order term, again some more variation will comes into picture, and it is possible to show that as delta x and delta x dot is very much small, then it is possible to neglect this higher order term. And now I have same kind of things I have written, because I have calculated the Taylor series expansion about the x and x dot. So finally we are going to remove this part, because we are talking about the increment. And now you can see that after that what happens, that now I am going to talk about the linear term. Whenever we are talking about the variation, at that time we are going to neglect all other term. We are just going to preserve the linear term. We have already seen the physical interpretation or geometrical interpretation of variation in the previous lecture. And just so how to proceed? First you can calculate the increment, and inside the increment just try to see the linear term. Linear with respect to delta x and delta x dot. That is the meaning, and we have already defined this kind of things, what is linearity for us, what we mean basically. So we have to collect that term, and that is called variation. And what we have found, that somehow delta x and delta x dot both are related. So if I know delta x, then I can also able to determine delta x dot, and vice versa. And due to that reason we are telling that here we have no separate variable like delta xt or delta xt dot. Due to that reason, again I am going to simplify the problem and trying to express whole things in terms of delta x. How to do that? Again I am going to use the idea of integral by means integrate by part. So I am going to use here idea of integrate by part. So I am going to define u and v. So this first term as a u, second term as a v, and after that if you do that, then it is possible to show that I am going to put first term, and after that I am going to integrate second one, and going to integrate that from t0 to tf. And after that what happens, I have one more term, and that is nothing but the d by dt of first term, and after that integral of second term, and again integral from 0 to t. So I have done, I am not going to write separately. Just what you can do, you can assume this particular part, this part as a u, this part as a v, and after that you can apply the property of definite integral or integration by part. So and after that just recollect it. Now here you can see that one more thing, that we know that t0 and tf, and here I have delta xt. Now it is possible to show that I have written same kind of things as a remark. Since xt0 means initial condition, at t0 I have this value, and final time tf, this is the value, are specified all admissible curve must pass through these points, because we have fixed end condition in terms of time as well as in terms of state. Therefore, if you see the variation at these two particular points, particularly at end point, then that is 0. And due to that reason, if you see the first integral, this particular integral from t0 to tf, then this whole integral is going to vanish. Due to that reason, now my variation just going to contain these two terms, this term as well as this particular term. So what I am going to write now, I am going to first see the variation, and again I am going to repeat. First you can take the increment, after that you can correct the linear term, and after that you can apply the end condition and then try to calculate the variation. And after that, in order to find the extremal of curve or optimal of curve, extremal or optimum of curve, what you can do, you try to apply the fundamental result of the calculus of variation. And you know, I have already when I have started this class, at that time also I have specified that this is necessary condition that variation should be 0 in order to occurrence of extremum, and due to that reason I am going to substitute same kind of things. So if you substitute variation this equal to 0, then basically I can give the necessary condition that if x star has a solution, then that solution is nothing but the extremum of or some kind of extremum curve that basically going to minimize that particular functional. Now what we are telling that the function delta x must be 0 at t0 and tf, but for this it is completely arbitrary. What basically we are telling, I know the delta x at 2 points t0 and tf, but I do not know whatever they are in between behavior, that may be anything. And now due to that reason I cannot tell that delta x is always 0, means we have to find some kind of condition such that we are able to simplify this particular definite integral. And due to that reason, now next particular, again this is very important result, that is, and you can see that whenever we are adding this word fundamental, it means that that particular thing is primitive of that particular subject. So again this is known as a fundamental lemma of calculus of variations. And what fundamental lemma of calculus of variation is suggesting, that if for every function gt which is continuous, and if g delta xt into dt equal to 0, then this particular function delta x t is continuous in the interval t0 to tf, then function gt must be 0 everywhere throughout the interval. So if I have this kind of result, then what happens, that this theorem is suggesting that only one possible choice, this should be 0. And from here you can see that using this lemma I can simplify that, since this whole integral is 0, so at the same time I can tell that this equal to 0. So first try to understand the proof of this lemma, that is again very simple. So sake of completeness I am going to prove it, and in order to prove this I am going to use the idea of contradiction. So I am going to contradict some argument. First, we are assuming that okay, gt is not zero, non-zero in some particular time interval. You can see that I have started seeing the variation from t0 to tf. So in between, I am assuming that this is non-zero. This may be positive, this may be negative. So for time being, you can assume that is negative. So what we are going to see that I have this kind of integral that equal to 0, and this should be true for all a small kind of variation. So whatever a small variation you can do, this integral should be 0. So now what happens that I am going to assume that gt is non-zero, positive or negative during a short interval ta and tb. Now I am going to select delta x, which is arbitrary, to be positive or negative throughout the interval where gt has non-zero value, because delta x is very, very small. So I am going to tell that, and we are also knowing that xt is continuous. So behavior of, whenever you are taking a small increment, then behavior of function is not going to change. And by this selection, the value of this, if you are doing this kind of selection, then this is non-zero. So if the gt is non-zero for any small interval, then area under curve of this, because I am just talking about a small variation, so I cannot tell that some part this is positive, some part this is negative, and after that they will cancel that. Otherwise what happens that at that time delta x, I cannot assume that is arbitrarily small, and due to that reason that I am claiming that is not 0, and this contradict our assumption that gt is non-zero during the interval, and gt must be identically 0 everywhere during the entire interval. And it means that from this lemma, just even if you are not interested in proof, that doesn't matter, just try to understand that if gt is some kind of continuous function, and if gt delta xt into dt integral from t0 to tf equal to 0, then this function gt is 0 in whole interval t0 to tf, and this whole result is called fundamental result or fundamental lemma of calculus of the variation. So we have seen fundamental theorem. So fundamental theorem is suggesting that how to find extremum, and what basically fundamental lemma suggests that I have how to solve that particular integral after getting or after calculating the variation. So somehow they are talking about the feasibility of solution. So after applying the fundamental lemma, we find the necessary condition x star to be extremal, and that necessary condition is given like this. So I have functional g with respect to first argument dou x and d by dt dou g by dou x dot, and this is just argument. So either you can write or not write, that doesn't matter. And most of time, because if you are writing like this, then things become more things looking more ugly. So due to that reason, again people are dropping the argument, and in simple way they are writing like this. So same representation you can also able to write like this. And this equation is one of the most famous equation, that is called Euler-Lagrange equation. So in order to find the x star, now just problem is to solve this particular equation. But here you can see that this particular equation is also contains some kind of partial derivative, and d by dt is involved. So somehow this particular solution of, or if you see the system of equation, this is second order differential equation basically. Now in order to solve this differential equation, boundary condition is also required. So actually Euler equation is generally, initially what happens, that whatever this equation that is formulated by Euler, last and in later part what happens, Lagrange actually gone through the Euler result, and after that what he found that this kind of particular equation one can get by simple idea of variation, and due to that reason this particular equation is called, termed as or named as Euler-Lagrange equation. And if you are know the means mathematical modeling based on the Lagrangian, at that time also you might have seen similar kind of equation where G is nothing but the difference of kinetic energy minus potential energy. So we are finding the Lagrangian function, and after that we are solving this kind of equation. We are assuming that there is no forcing function. If forcing function is there, then we are also incorporating that. So for mathematical modeling, again we are using same kind of equation. So for time being I am not going to talk about that. Now what we have seen, that Euler-Lagrange equation is only a necessary condition for optimum or extremum. Optimum sometimes not yield either a maximum value or minimum value, because they just give some kind of inflection point where the derivative vanishes in differential calculus. However, if the Euler-Lagrange equation is not satisfied for any function, this indicates that optimum doesn't exist for that function. So what we are telling, that suppose if you have defined the functional, and after that if you are calculating the increment, after that variation, and after variation we are getting Euler-Lagrange equation, and if you solve that equation, then you are able to tell that okay, there it might possible that there either I have extremum value, that is either maxima or minima, but sometime it might possible you might have some kind of inflection point, and due to that reason people have further search for other possibility and some kind of sufficient condition. However, if this will not satisfy, then we can tell, I can easily comment that because this is necessary condition, then optimum of that particular function doesn't exist. So what I am going to do, basically I am going to do this using whatever things we have learned till now. We are going to solve one problem, and this problem is very simple, and from the 9th physics we are knowing that shortest path between any 2 points is nothing but displacement. So now question is like this, suppose you have 2 points A and B. Again you can see that time is fixed, and end point as well as a starting point, that is fixed. So now I have to find the minimum length between any 2 points, because minimum length between A and B is called displacement. All other things are telling distance, and using the result whatever we have learned till now, it is possible to show that minimum length is a straight line between A to B. So let us try to see that how to basically solve that kind of problem using the calculus of variation. So what I am going to assume, that here this is delta x, this is arc length, and here I have this is dx and this is dt. So here t is not time, so I am assuming that this is some kind of arbitrary kind of things, and after that what I am going to see, that dx square by dx square plus dt square, from here, from this particular triangle one can see that I am assuming that this is very small. Due to that reason I have assumed this as a rectangular, some kind of rectangular coordinate value, and I can able to apply the some kind of theorem like Pythagoras theorem. And after that, you can see that by recollecting it, I can also able to write this particular thing like this, where x dot is nothing but dx by dt. So now you try to see that what I am going to write here, that basically it is better to write dx equal to this particular, and dt is outside of this particular thing. And after that, now you can see that I am able to formulate. So please consider this as a one thing, and I have defined this as a some kind of functional or performance measure. You can see that. So performance measure, whenever we are moving from A to B, this performance measure we have defined, and that is just function of x dot. So now I am able to see that I have this performance measure that is defined like this. Now where gx dot is like this. So after defining the performance measure, there is no need to calculate the variation, because we know that after applying the increment, collecting the variation from that increment, and after that applying the fundamental theorem of calculus of variation and fundamental lemma of calculus of variation, we are going to get the Euler-Lagrange equation. So due to that reason, directly after formulating G, we are going to state the Euler-Lagrange equation, and after that, by solving Euler-Lagrange equation, I can tell that okay, this particular solution is the optimal solution. Again, please be careful. I am not going to talk that this solution is minima or maxima. Just we are telling that this is extremal or optimal solution, and this is very simple, because G is just function of x dot. So particularly this term will not present, and after that dou G by dou x dot you can calculate, and after that you can take the dx by dt. And after that, if you solve this equation, then it is possible to show that solution of this. Again, you have to do integral for this. So solution of this particular thing is given like this. Now suppose some performance measure is given, and try to see that this equation is nothing but x star is the equation of a straight line. And due to that reason, I am telling that if you have some kind of path, minimum path, and after that again we will formulate some kind of sufficient conditions such that I will tell you that x star is not give maxima, just minima. So in our order to see feasibility, first you have to solve the Euler-Lagrange equation, and if Euler-Lagrange equation has a solution, then I can tell that okay, this particularly this particular curve is either minimum length or maximum length. And after that I will apply some more condition, and in previous class I have already told you that that is nothing but we have to check the second variation. Now again, suppose in this problem, what we have found that basically this problem is very simple problem, but somehow we are able to understand that how to formulate the performance measure. So by seeing the problem statement in several times, one can able to formulate the exact kind of performance measure also. So and due to that reason, you have to first study the statement of problem, and after that, once this J comes into picture, then things become very easy. If your problem is simplest problem, means both point is fixed, and after that fixed point pi I am telling, because here also you can see that whatever minimization problem we are talking here, I have this is some coordinate t0, here x0 tf, here this is xtf. Now let us come to the second problem. Again, that is some kind of numerical problem. I have collected from the textbook. And after that, in this particular problem, you can see that end point is given, so x0. So I have this kind of integral. You can either interpret this as a time, or do not interpret as a time. That is also doesn't going to make any kind of difference. Suppose you have something, and this may be current, and current is varying from this value to this value. Sometimes this might be some kind of voltage that is going to vary from this value to this value, so that doesn't matter. And we are assuming that now at the end point x0 is 1 and x2 is 5. So in order to find that optimum of this particular functional, again I have to solve the Euler-Lagrange equation. And from the solution here, you can see that this g is function of g. I have again from this integral, you can see that you are able to define the g. What is g? So whatever this particular quantity, that x dot and t, that is basically nothing but that is g. So this is function of time. And after that, I have solved this, and this particular curve is provided us the extremum value. And after that, x0 this is 1, x2 this is 5. So I am able to calculate the C1 and C2. By substituting this, I can tell that x star is going to give some kind of extremum value to this particular performance measure g. So with respect to this performance measure, this particular curve is going to provide us some kind of optimum value. Now I am going to talk about how to talk about the maxima and minima, and for that you have to see the second variation. So what we have seen, that in order to existence of maxima or minima, first you have to see the first variation, and first variation equal to 0, or either you can directly write in terms of the Euler-Lagrange equation. And I have written Euler-Lagrange equation here. So dou g by dou x minus d by dt dou g by dou x dot equal to 0. Or after that, what you can do in order to establish the sufficient condition, this is just sufficient condition, not necessary condition. So even this condition will not hold, I cannot comment. But if this will hold, then surely I will comment. So to establish the nature of optimum, maximum or minimum, it required the examine the second variation. Again, how to calculate the second variation? First, what you can do, you can calculate the increment, and inside the increment, now you can see the somehow second variation, means delta x squared term, delta x dot squared term, delta x t into delta x dot term. So that will provide us the second variation. So you can see that I have actually denoted second variation using some kind of black picture. And after that, what I am going to do, that I am going to collect this particular delta squared j, and again I have to put this equal to 0. And again, same like the fundamental lemma of calculus of variation, again similar result holds here, that in order to get the maximum and minimum, this whatever inside the integral, first I have to, here you can see that I have delta x dot. So first I have to express everything in argument of delta xt. So again I am going to apply the integration by part by defining u as a this and v as a this. So this is very simple step, so you can try to do by yourself. And after that, what you can do, after aggregating everything here, you can see that what happens, I have this kind of term, and after that I am going to apply the fundamental theorem of calculus of variation, and sufficient condition for minima is second variation. that should be greater than 0. Similarly, if I want to find the maxima, then I have to make sure that second variation is less than 0. And if you put second variation equal to 0, then this and this both should be 0, because I am applying not 0, that should be greater than 0. And how to prove that is greater than 0? It means that the function inside this particular value, this should be positive and this should be positive, and due to that reason I have written this kind of condition. So now let us try to see that verify the straight line represent the minimum distance between 2 points or not. So we know that how to find this functional, and after that, now at optima, we know that in order to find the optima, I have to solve the Euler-Lagrange equation, and I have already solved Euler-Lagrange equation, and after that I am able to conclude that along this particular line optimum is going to lie. And now I have to just check the characteristic of this optimum, means this is maxima or minima. And how to do that, we have already stated the result. So second variation, that should be greater than 0. So what I am going to do here, I am going to apply same kind of result here, and after that, after applying that kind of result, it is possible to show that this is equal to 0 for all x dot star, and due to that reason this is nothing but minima, because second variation should be greater than 0 in order to existence, means existence of minima, and this is sufficient condition, means if that holds, then there always exists certain kind of minima. If that doesn't hold, then we cannot comment. So now I am going to summarize the today's lecture. So what we have found that whenever I have some kind of problem and we have to talk about the extremum, at that time how to formulate the simplest variation problem. Simplest variation problem is if I have fixed in time and if I have fixed in the state. At that time, first I have to see the all assumption carefully, because we know that whenever we are talking about the increment, at that time some condition with respect to the various with respect to the whatever functional that is required, and due to that reason first we state the assumption. We also see the feasibility of problem. We will see that what is feasible type of function. Basically we are going to talk for particular problem. After that we will see the take the increment. From the increment I will take the first variation, and after that I will apply the fundamental lemma, and after that, in order to after applying fundamental lemma, what we have observed that from fundamental lemma we have some kind of result, that is Euler-Lagrange equation, that is coming from fundamental lemma after applying fundamental theorem, and then we have to just solve the Euler-Lagrange equation. So that will give us sufficient condition. One more step we have to do, that if we are going to characterize that extremum value, that is as a maxima or minima, we have to check the second variation, and we have to see the sign of second variation. If that is greater than 0, then we have minima. If that is less than 0, then that is the maxima. In the next class we will see some more category of problem, where suppose here we are specifically assuming that endpoint are fixed. Suppose if endpoint are not fixed, then how to solve same kind of problem. So with this remark I am going to close the today's lecture. So thank you very much.